And good Thursday evening, everyone. This is John and Sean with Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports, coming to you on this Thursday, May 26th. We are another day closer to the NFL season. I'm ready for that. Definitely ready for fantasy football season. Sean, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good. Have you started doing any fantasy football drafts, not just mocks, any real drafts?
No, not yet. I'll wait a little bit closer to once it gets closer to the season. Then I'll start jumping in on those and getting myself more prepared for the season to begin.
Gotcha. Let me just make sure all things are going here. Yep, looks like we're good. So it's been quiet ever since we had the NFL draft. Free agency has definitely slowed down, but we had the NFL schedule release as well. So we'll look into that. Maybe we'll start doing a little bit more of that. We're definitely going to start diving into more fantasy football stuff this weekend. I should have our projections about where I feel about 90% comfortable, and then we'll get it even more detailed once training camp and stuff starts like that. So we got those coming. But Sean, let's look at some of the roster moves here. We've had some cuts. Quarterback James Morgan got cut. I believe he was with Indy. And Felix Harper, not too sure who that is. Some tight ends, Nick Gugumas and Ethan Wolf, and Alex Millette there at center. Do you know much about, besides James Morgan? I know he was with the Jets a few years ago. But besides that, I don't know much about those guys that got released. Do you know
No,
anything?
no, I don't know anything about any of really them other than pretty much probably they're all going to start being probably practice squad people. That's the only thing I could really think of is that they're going to be. I don't really see them being any like key major signing they're going to jump out in the world and they're going to win the starting job right out of training camp. So I would see them being more of the practice squad people that probably got released.
Gotcha. Before we dump into some of the key guys that are still free agents here, let's look at. That's offense. Let's look at the defense here. Some defensive ends got released. Ladarius Mack, Joe Osman, Joe Jackson, John Kaminsky, Dion Novo, Bryce Wyatt, and Chris Moore, Jack Horner. Same thing. A bunch of guys I really don't know much about. Sean, anything on the guys that got released?
No, I mean, the only thing is the guy that was the release at the cornerback position that has the last name Watt. I'm wondering if the Steelers are just going to sign him just so they can have another Watt on the team.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I don't think he's related to them, but he might as well. He might as well get signed by the Steelers because then they can own every Watt possible except JJ.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen. Oh, Harold's in the chat. Harold, how are you? Good to see you again. I texted Sean today asking if everything was okay. We haven't seen you around, but he said you were fine and just been busy. So thanks for stopping by. Good to see you again. I know he signed up for our free Yahoo Fantasy League. So right now we got 6 teams. I do have some other guys that are interested. I did send links. I'm just waiting for them to sign up as well. So once we're full, once we get to about 10, 12, I mean, we'll go more than that if we have to, but
I want to fill it. I want to fill it completely. Let's get 20.
Yeah, but let's keep looking at some of these. That was defense. Before we jump in the guys that are still available, let's look at the signings here. Full signed with the Colts. That's why they ended up cutting Morgan and Brett Hundley there with the Ravens. Williams, Tyson Williams, signs with the Colts. I believe he was with the Ravens.
Yeah, and then they released him for some odd reason. They gave him a contract extension, and then they took the contract extension back, released him, and then I was going with the Colts. So it's kind of an awkward thing, especially for him. He goes to the Colts team that has Nyheim Hines, I think Marlon Mack, and obviously the guy called Jonathan Taylor is the starting running back there. So I don't understand why you'd want to sign there because you're going to be a third to fourth stringer. But I've seen a lot of rumors coming out of Indianapolis from like their coaches and all that, and they're saying like Nyheim Hines is possibly one of the best backup running backs in the league this year, and I'm like, I don't know how or why he could possibly jump that high up on radars. And then a lot of fantasy sites that I've been paying attention to, they've all said that like he's probably going to be like a top backup pick to have. And I'm like, I don't get how, because Jonathan Taylor is still going to get the ball inside the 20 or
Right.
inside the 10 even.
Let me get a pen. I have our projections here. We'll start looking at that. See what our numbers are saying as compared to what the experts are saying. Naheem Hines, you said, right, from the Colts.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look to see where we have his numbers right now. But Marquise Goodwin signs with the Seahawks. Probably just a depth piece, unless. I could still see them. I think they want to trade Lockett before Metcalf.
Just because of the money, yeah.
Right. So not to say Goodwin could replace him, but you don't know what teams are thinking. DJ Montgomery got released by the Jets, then he signs back with the Jets. He's down the list there for depth there. Probably 6th or 7th wide receiver in that room. But tight ends, Tyler Kroft, former Jet, signs with the 49ers. I'm not too familiar with the rest of these guys here, and the tackle as well. Sean, anything else with the offense before we move over to the defensive guys?
Yeah, I actually like the Falcons signing there, getting Jerry McNichols. He was the backup to Derrick Henry in Tennessee. And honestly, I think him going to Atlanta is honestly a good fit, because then he might be kind of that better starter for Patterson. So Patterson might be able to do more receiving roles, not have to like always be the every down running back. So he might actually be able to be a better fit for the team.
Gotcha. So let's move to the defensive side of the ball. And of course, we'll start with Clowney here. Big signing. I don't know for a fact, but it was reported that he turned down more money and multiple year offers from other teams to re-sign with Cleveland. Did you hear that as well?
Yeah, I heard that. And I just think because he played with Deshaun Watson in Houston, and then Deshaun Watson comes to Cleveland, where he could be a free agent signing as well. So I think that's why I would think he signed there.
Gotcha. Harold says, Morris says, hello, Sean.
Yeah, my little cousin.
Hopefully smarter than you.
Probably.
Oh, man. Sorry. But Tyler Lancaster with the Raiders, Chris Slayton with the Packers, Jimmy Moreland with the Eagles, Morrison retires, Reggie Robinson to the Browns, and Kyle Fuller to the Ravens. This late in the offseason, I like that signing for the Ravens.
Yeah, I think that was probably the best defensive signing this week so far, just for the purposes of he improves the Ravens defense by a lot. The Ravens cornerbacks were all injured last year with torn ACLs and Achilles and anything you could think of that you don't want to have as an injury, they were getting last year. So for them to get Kyle Fuller, hopefully he stays healthy, and the rest of the defensive cornerback can come back staying healthy. And I think they'll be fine then with him having an addition to him especially when they got to play against tough wide receivers that they play in that division.
Yeah. So we'll keep. Thanks for updating this list. Every week, I know the news has slowed down, so we don't spend as much time on these signings as we did. Really, not as many big name signings. I mean, we did have Clowney and Fuller this week, and then Foles going to the Colts. But let's jump back over to the guys that are still available. So some of these quarterbacks that are still available, I don't see them signing with a team unless someone gets hurt.
Yeah, I think we're finally going to be able to say Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to be able to retire as well as all 30 teams that he played for in the NFL. But I think, honestly, the rest of them are all third string, fourth string guys anyways, practice squad people. The only person I would see consider being a starter would be Cam Newton, but it would have to be on the right team, honestly. I just don't see them. I don't see anybody going out there and signing him and being like, oh, he's going to be a guaranteed starter. because I don't think he's really a starter in the league anymore, especially with teams now developing quarterbacks and drafting quarterbacks so young and just staying with them for as long as they can be. But I could see like maybe Cam Newton signing with like say a Tampa Bay and kind of being like Tom Brady's backup. And then kind of like when Tom Brady retires, he could maybe take over a team, or maybe even when Tom Brady comes out in like the second, third quarter when they're up by 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, at least then they know they're in good hands. They don't have to worry about, 3 pick sixes by their backup.
Well, worried about turnovers, but with you thinking maybe Cam going there, what about does that mean they don't like Trask?
Yeah, but you figure he still hasn't gotten any starting time other than preseason when they drafted him. I didn't like it when they drafted him, being that he was a Florida quarterback, but obviously I'm happy that he got signed or drafted and signed, but I just don't think he's really got the chance to be great there with the team.
Yeah. Harold says the Lions need Fitzmagic. Harold, with somebody who has seen that show, it starts off as Fitzmagic and changes to
Fitz
Fitztragic.
disappointment.
Fitztragic, real quick.
Or Fitz disappointment.
So, but yeah, look at the running backs here. Some good quality pieces still available. Not every down backs, but guys that could definitely fill a role. If you needed a running back on your team, who would you be going after?
If I needed a running back, I wouldn't mind having like a Latavius Murray or even a Devontae Booker, just because their size and they're downhill runners. If I'm looking for like pure speed, I wouldn't mind having like a Jerick McKinnon or someone of that speed. But obviously Tariq Cohen at the top of the list, he tore his ACL or his Achilles. So obviously his season's over again for the second straight year. As a guy that obviously lost his starting job, then tore his ACL, and now tore his Achilles all within 3 years, I don't really know if him being a running back anymore is going to be an option, truthfully.
Yeah, so I don't know. Man, if I needed to sign somebody for depth, I don't know. Maybe David Johnson, maybe.
Yeah, that'd have to be a far stretch, though, especially not him being banged up after he got injured that first time with the Cardinals. It kind of was downhill from his career there.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
They always say that one injury derails a career.
Yeah, and these guys do need to be careful. I know these guys want big money. These guys are paid big money, but they usually hold out before their contracts are up. Look what happened to Le'Veon Bell. He was one of the top running backs in the league. He comes back, gets the huge contract from the Jets, and he's never been the same. Now, I don't think him going to the Jets and them being a bad team had much to do with that. I think that year off hurt him more than anything else.
Yeah, and I can see that being a lot of options anymore. I mean, I kind of have that concern with Deshaun Watson. Like, people are so high on him and for fantasy relations and all that, but it's like he hasn't played an NFL down for over a year. You're going to tell me that he stayed in full fitness, health this whole time, that he can go out there and be a starting quarterback again against some of these NFL defenses that have only improved since the last time he was in the league. And he's going from a division that he kind of controlled, I would say, when he was playing. And he's going to one of the probably toughest divisions overall, that you could be 8-9 and win that division any given year. Like the way that those teams play each other. I mean, Cleveland was always that worst team in the division, but they always played everybody so hard in that division still, every day, every game.
Yeah, so let's keep looking here. Some good wide receivers still available. Definitely Julio Jones. I don't know how much they can contribute, but still some big names anyway. I remember guys like T.Y. Hilton, Cole Beasley, a good slot receiver, still out there. I wonder if him. I know he's 100% against getting the vaccine. We're not going to get into where anybody stands on that, but I wonder if teams are shying away from players like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being a possibility. The same with like Odell Beckham and all that. I'm like, it's kind of like at this point, the Rams sat there and said they wanted to sign him right away. We're now what, 3 months into free agency, 4 months, and you still haven't signed the guy to a contract. And then you really look down the list further. I mean, you have some other names there that like could be contributors, but kind of can't be really because they're kind of older now, like a Chad Beebe, D.D. Westbrook, Tavon Austin, even a Deshaun Jackson. Like they're kind of past that prime year of their career. So like, what are you really going to be able to contribute? I mean, people like the Packers, where they like kind of need that quarterback to receiver momentum again. Like, so somebody like on this list could end up being that guy that Aaron Rodgers says, hey, can we get him maybe just to be like a filler, maybe like a T.Y. Hilton or a Julio Jones, kind of like help develop these younger guys that we keep drafting and everything, just to be able to have the help that we need on the wide receiver side of the ball.
Yeah. Before we get going here, it shows we have 5 viewers at the moment. Everybody that's watching, thank you very much for being here. We talk every Thursday night at 7 Eastern time. Go over all the NFL news and start getting ready for fantasy football season. And then Sundays at noon as well during the off season. And then during the season, we give our projections and stuff on Thursday nights. Take a deeper dive into the Thursday night matchups. Sorry, I just saw the question from Harold there. What are your guys' takes on Kaepernick possibly coming back? Sean, I'll let you take this one first.
Yeah, even if he comes back, he's gonna be the most irrelevant player ever, just because he's been out of the league for I think 5 years now.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been. I can look up his stats here.
It's got to be 4 or 5 years he's been out of the league. And I mean, I know he's been staying fit and all that, and he's doing pro days. He's been at college pro days, and he's been doing all these different things. But even if the Raiders were to sign him, I guess you're gonna be. I know he's gonna be a backup to Derek Carr, but what really are you gonna be able to do with the NFL when you haven't been in the league for that many years? And Derek Carr I don't think Derek Carr's missed a start in his career. So why would you want to be a backup?
And I mean, I don't know Kaepernick's mindset. I know for a while there he wanted big money. If he really wants back in the NFL, he's got to take backup money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because looking over to end his career, his last 19 starts, he went 3-16. Now the numbers aren't so bad. 22 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, but a completion percentage under 60%. That's not good for a quarterback at all. You got to be mid 60s. Even rookies like last year, they were low 60s, 61, 62, something like that. So he's got to get that up. Now, if he's just going to be a backup, I don't know. Is it something they might sign him and try to stash him on the practice squad as well?
I don't think is he practice squad eligible being that old in the league?
Yeah. Let's see here.
I thought you had to be so many years or less to be in that.
The NFL did. There were rule changes, and I should have printed them out. Ian Rappaport tweeted them out the other day. There were some rule changes to the practice squad. I know they upped the amount of vets that could be on there. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a year limit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if a guy's been in the league for X amount of years, you can't throw him on there. You have to release him or have him on the roster. Let me keep looking here. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I know it says here IR players now, if they're on the practice squad, they have to sit out 4 games.
Right. Yep. That was last
Um,
year. They put that in last year.
A practice squad player can be elevated for a maximum of 3 regular season games in the same year, and any number of postseason games without taking up a 53-man roster. That was updated from 2, which I think that rule is kind of an odd rule, just because, say, a practice squad player, say like the main running back gets injured on a team, and you bring up a practice squad guy, you can only bring him up for 3 games, and then you got to either put him back down there or release him. It
Right.
kind of is like that weird rule, because it's saying, like, what if he came out and, say, the backup to CMC is on the practice squad and they want to bring him up then, and like he comes out and he's great, then you're going to tell me you can only bring him up for 3 games? It's kind of a odd rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not
But
sure. I'll have to go back and find that. Ian Rappaport, like I said, he did tweet it out, and he actually had the official letter and posted it. So I'll go back and find that and actually look into that as well. That
gotta take a drink.
Yeah, good call. Good call. But let me put this back up on the screen here. We'll keep going with some of these free agents still available. Have you heard anything on Gronk? But still some quality tight ends still available. But the big one everybody is talking about is Gronk, and I know he was with Brady the other day. I think they were hitting some baseballs or something. But I haven't heard anything. Have you?
No, it's just kind of one of those. When is the time going to come that he wants to sign? He's not going to retire. If he would have retired, he would have done it by now. I think at this point in time, either he's waiting for the Bucks to maybe sign more players, see what kind of cap numbers are there, to see what kind of contract he can get. But I just don't think that him waiting out this long is good for the other tight ends, because, like, once he signs, he might be able to free up a lot more people getting signed as well overall.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. Some offensive line pieces still available. Nate Solder, Balaga, Fisher, Riley Reef, Brandon Shell. Some definitely good guys that were starters that, depending on injury, probably going to have to take backup roles.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys here that could be starters on select teams depending on the right scenario at even the guard position. Duvernay, Tardif,
Mm-hmm.
Hopkins, Lewis, Incognito, Okafor, Flowers. And then at the center position is the biggest one, J.C. Treader.
And he got released like right off the bat too, and
Yeah.
didn't sign.
Yeah, and it's shocking to see that he hasn't gotten signed, and I don't think he's that old. I'm pretty sure he's 28, maybe 29 years old. I think he's only signed like one contract, and pretty sure you would think like a guy like him, that he played for the Browns, never really missed any games, he would get signed quickly. And I mean, he definitely could be a good piece on a good team.
Yeah, he's 31, and he has not missed a game. Actually, since 2015.
Yeah, so
He was with the Packers then, but 16, he came back from injury, and played in the last 7 games there, and then 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 started every game for the Browns.
yeah, so I mean, that's huge to think of somebody passing up on a guy that played on the Browns and all that for that many years and defended all the quarterbacks and all that, and didn't let up probably that many sacks throughout the time and didn't miss any games. So you think about it, he's a good, reliable player to have on a team.
Yeah. So if you would, like you said, actually here at guards, lots of players. Duvernay Tardif started for the Jets last year. I'm actually surprised. I don't know. I think he wants starter money. Right now, I think the Jets were willing to bring him back, but he had to take backup money, and I don't think he wanted to do that. But it was funny last year. The Jets traded like a third string tight end for him. Because I don't know. I guess he just wanted out of Kansas City. And then, like 2 weeks later, Kansas City cut the player they got, and the Jets re-signed him.
Yeah, it was like a quick switch around. But I think, like you said, at that point in time, it was kind of like just contract dump, get rid of them, get what you can, and move on. I mean, kind of like the AJ Brown, even Marquise Brown, get what you can and just move on from it.
Yeah. So I asked you before when we started if you had started doing any fantasy football stuff. I took part on Sunday. If anybody watched, I took part in a new dynasty league, and I wanted to show you my team. I ended up with the first pick. I asked you in a text if you know who I took over number one overall, and you said Jonathan Taylor, and that is who I took. This goes by contracts, so you had to stay under the salary cap. But this is my practice squad here. A bunch of rookies at tight end, but some of my wide receivers on my practice squad here: Tyler Boyd, Rondell Moore, Robert Woods, Shakir is a rookie, and Denzel Mims from my Jets. Jerome Ford in Cleveland, Chuba Hubbard in Carolina, who could actually end up being the starter, and Marcus Mariota. That's my practice squad, Sean. What do you think of my practice squad?
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you got Robert Woods on your practice squad there. You got Tyler Boyd. Chuba Hubbard will be a starter at some point throughout the year because CMC will get injured once again. He can't play healthy. And Marcus Mariota could be that sneaky good quarterback at some point throughout the year, depending once he starts flowing with the Atlanta Falcons offense.
Yep. So let's keep looking here. I'm gonna show you. This is my bench. This is my bench. I can move these guys. I can move bench players and practice squad players whenever I want. So this doesn't have to stay this way. Like Zach Wilson right now, I took him just because he's still on his rookie contract. QMP Gaming stopping by. QMP, great to see you, man. I know you've been busy with your job. It's great to see you. Thanks for stopping by and saying hello. Hopefully you're doing well. I do know we're doing a free Yahoo Fantasy Football League. Let me know if you're interested. I can post the link for that in the chat if you like. Actually, I'll just post it there if anybody's interested. Once we fill up, Sean's got some prizes he's come up with. If you guys beat us, of course, if Sean or I win, we'll maybe just raffle off those prizes to the rest of the teams that made the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it's not, like I said, I've said it plenty of times, when it's a snake draft, I always am horrible. So I'll be contending for last place, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah. So, guys, if you're in the chat, go ahead, join that free Yahoo League. And once we get filled up, we'll set a draft time. I know there's one set there now, but we'll come up with a day that actually everybody can be there. So Sean, here's my bench: Zach Wilson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kenneth Gainwell, Adam Thielen from your Vikings, Chase Claypool, David Njoku, and the rookie kicker in Dallas, Jonathan Garibay. Your thoughts on my bench before we look at my starting team?
Yeah, I think it's a really good bench. I would probably move Hubbard for Gainwell, just for purposes of that Hubbard's will probably get the starting spot at some point. But overall, I think it's a good bench to have. I mean, the kicker out of Dallas, he should have the starting job. I don't think he has anyone to compete against. So that could be a good piece, especially because Dallas is either touchdown or field goal kind of team. They don't really punt to very much.
Yeah, so let's look at my starters. Here's my starting roster: Russell Wilson, Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Taylor. Like I said, went number one overall. Elijah Moore from the Jets, T. Higgins, Kyle Pitts, Devonta Smith, and Tyler Bass, the kicker out of Buffalo. This league does not use defenses, so I was okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that in any league.
Yeah. So besides Taylor, I do feel like I'm a little thin at running back. Gibson is good, but does have some injury concerns. But that's where I like the Chuba Hubbard pick. Like I said, I do have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he gets banged up a lot too. But I do like that Chuba Hubbard down in Carolina because they are trying to get rid of CMC.
Yeah, I think CMC will go at some point. It's just a matter of when at this point in time.
Yeah,
But
yes.
overall, I think you have a good team. The only concern I would have is you have 2 Cincinnati wide receivers. You have
Mhm.
2 Jets. You have 3 Jets players. But you have Mariota who could throw in and have the Mariota Pitts connection, which I think is going to be a good connection. I think Mariota to Pitts is going to be probably one of the best touchdown duos this year, honestly, in the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So overall, I really like my team. I was looking; they do have projections up for the games. I know a lot can happen between now and then, so really not going to look into that. But I like my team. I was a little disappointed I got number one, just because not because I got Jonathan Taylor, but because there was such a long wait in between picks.
Yeah, that's always the worst thing ever. I mean,
Miss K says, "Hey, Pure Journal Football. Hey, how are you? Thanks for stopping by." Oops, let me get rid of this stuff here. I'm going crazy. This is why I should just let you do it and me not touch it.
you break things.
So let's see salaries. Um, Years left on the contract. I only have one player that I took that has a contract that expires at the end of this year. That's Njoku. So I'm pretty stuck with this team for 2 years unless I make some trades. But I do have spots still on my practice squad that I can fill. Um, I'm great. How are you? We're doing good. Just talking some football. Sean, how are you?
I'm good. Always
Good. Yeah.
good.
Always good. So yeah, I mean, Njoku's the only guy, but the way this league works, if he signs a new contract next year, I can either keep him at that new contract, or I can let him go with no penalty.
Which is a good thing to have. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
can't go wrong with that ever.
So that's fantasy football, which we'll start getting into more. Uh, you did talk about how some of the experts are liking Hines as a backup at the running back position for the Colts, right?
Yeah.
So let's look at some of our running back projections here. I do have Jonathan Taylor ranked number one over Derrick Henry. We got Taylor, Henry, Eckler, Cook, and Harris as the top five. Your thoughts on the top five?
Yeah, I think that's honestly the top 5. Christian McCaffrey is probably going to fall well below that. And I think Leonard Fournette will honestly climb up that list, as well as DeAndre Swift, I think, climbs up that list as well. Also, good possibility there.
I forget which pick it was in that draft in my dynasty draft. I had Fournette lined up to take, and the guy before me took him. I was scrambling. I forget who I ended up taking. I was so hyped to have. I'm like, oh man, I'm getting Fournette this late, and nope, somebody else snagged him.
Fell apart.
Yep. So let's look here. He's with Indianapolis. You know what? I didn't put the search bar in here yet, but let's do this. Hines. It's Hines, correct?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
there he is,
Only
right there,
predict.
right in front of my screen.
He's
Frank
only
is a dark boy is here, lurking. Frank, thanks for stopping by. For you guys that are watching, if you have not checked out Frank is a dark boy, uh, I love watching his streams. It's usually pretty late at night. If you're here on the East Coast, usually starts at about 11:30. I believe right now he's playing Final Fantasy, so that's fun to watch. His chat's always hopping. So guys, check him out as well. Actually, I'll give him a shout out here in the chat. But go ahead, Sean, on Nyheim Hines.
Yeah, I mean, he's only projected on our rankings at 106 points. I mean, why is he getting a hype up for being a backup in Indianapolis to one of the best running backs right now in the league? So I'm not sure about why he's such a big hype guy to have, but there's clearly got to be something that we're clearly must be missing at some point.
I'm shouting out Frank is a dark boy. There you go, guys. Check him out as well. But let's look here. Yeah, so right now, average draft position 135. Even if you're in a 12-team league, that's around round 11. or 12, somewhere in that range. And only right now we only have him projected at 328. But like I said, I'm only about 70% comfortable with where my projections are right now. So hopefully over the weekend I'll get those updated heading into the OTAs and training camp. But I don't know, Sean. I think I actually like James Cook more than I like Nyheim Hines.
I like a lot of people more than I like Nyheim Hines. I mean, I just don't think that Nyheim Hines is a great running back. I mean, he's a good running back to have to be a backup, but I don't think he's anything that's going to be a fantasy player to have.
Yeah. So how about some of the rookies? Right now, Brees Hall is our highest rated rookie. And anybody, I like Kenneth Walker in Seattle. I think he'll start the year splitting carries. But who are you liking at the running back position for rookie drafts?
Honestly, I think that James Cook will probably be the best running back to have other than Brees Hall, just because Kenneth Walker is going to be sharing a role there in Seattle, and Damian Pierce is on a carousel of running backs in Houston, and Spiller is behind Eckler. I mean, you're not really going to get many starting spots there as fantasy relations.
Yeah. So before any other positions, we've actually looked at pretty much everybody. Let's touch on the USFL here for a second. I watched last weekend. I really didn't pay too. I had it on, didn't pay too close, but to me it looks like every team makes the playoffs. Did you see that?
Yeah, and I mean, you got the worst team in the league beat the top team and
Right.
be done right away.
Yeah, so I didn't like that. I could see the top two from each division having to face each other, and then the two winners facing in the championship. But um, I don't know. Let's look at some of the stats. Let's see if any of these guys are standing out. Um,
I think I saw this week that I saw like two quarterbacks got released or something, and they traded it. They changed teams already and got picked up already, and it was like a free agency carousel pickup.
yeah, so let's um, let's do another fantasy mock draft. Unless you, Sean, you sent me a message saying you had some news to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there's just been some fantasy like updates, whatnot, going on with some of the players. I mean, the Saints said Michael Thomas, they're hoping he's ready for training camp, which if he's not ready for training camp after being missing all of last year,
Mm-hmm.
he might not be a number one receiver there anymore once Olave starts playing and Landry. I just don't think that you could be missing 2 years after you haven't played in the league for that long, especially with injuries. McCole Hardman, I guess, is playing with has a tweaked hamstring right now for the Chiefs, which you don't want that, especially when your offense, you're not really sure what's going to happen.
Oh, Rye Cannon's here. What up, guys? Rye Cannon, how are you? Great to see you. Let me give a shout out to him. Go ahead with the rest of your news there.
Allen Robinson's impressing at the Rams OTA so far, which I think is huge, especially because he's coming from last year where he really was irrelevant in Chicago's offense. So it's kind of one of those, what is going to come about. Lamar Jackson's absent from his OTAs with the Ravens. So that's kind of a big thing because he wants his contract.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach already said that he knows why it's happening. So Antonio Gibson on the Commanders, he says he feels great for the year, which he played with a painful stress fracture in his shin for most of last year.
Wow.
So for him to come back and be fully healthy, that'd be huge. Christian McCaffrey is going to get held out for all preseason with the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Are we shocked by that?
Nope.
Not really. You can't really. I guess they said he's also gonna. They got a new approach for him in practices, so he can stay healthy. Which, again, if that is your role as a running back and you're not really practicing, that's not a really good role. We might not be shocked by these next two. Tennessee Titans are looking for wide receiver help.
Mm-hmm.
You released Julio Jones. You traded A.J. Brown. What really more do you want? And then this is another big one. Jimmy Garoppolo is not guaranteed to be traded now.
Mm-hmm. I heard that the 49ers are not happy with Lance.
No, and I heard that as well. I don't think he's going to get traded, honestly. Terry McLaurin, he's another Lamar Jackson. He's not attending Commanders OTAs. He wants that contract, and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't really sign anyone all offseason, so why not give Carson Wentz the best receiving core he's probably had all of his career with McLaurin, Samuel, and Jahan Dotson.
Mm-hmm.
You can get all three of those. Carson Wentz, I guarantee you, has 4,000 yards passing this year.
Yeah. So, any other news? There's a couple things I want to touch on there that you brought up.
I'll update from what this week happened. Robert Woods, he participated in the Titans OTAs. That's honestly a big thing. Because when you haven't played for probably 6 months, and you participate in OTAs, then that's kind of a big thing. And then Doug Peterson came out saying that Travis Etienne was cleared for practice after his Liz Frank injury that he got last year. So that could be honestly a big thing for fantasy purposes because
I believe Robinson's out.
Yeah, Robinson's out, so Etienne could join in and he's back with his quarterback from college.
Oops.
And then the only other thing that happened since Sunday was Baker Mayfield says he's not attending the Browns OTAs.
Which doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised they haven't just taken something for him to get him out of town.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings can offer a 7th-round pick for him. I'm sure we can get him then. I'll take him for a 7th-round pick.
I know Carolina wanted to trade for him, but they wanted Cleveland to take like 13 or 14 million of that contract, and Cleveland wasn't willing to do that, so that kind of fell apart there. I have it up on the screen here. It says Colin Kaepernick would be better than any option for the Seahawks. Oh, it would be a better option than what the Seahawks, Panthers, and Texans currently have. He'd be better than any quarterback that the Dolphins currently have. He'd possibly win the job with the Falcons via Pro Football Talk.
Wrong.
Thoughts on that? Wrong? You think wrong on every occasion? I like Davis Mills.
I like Davis Mills and Texans. I do. I don't think that he would be a better option there. Carolina, maybe, but
exactly right.
You had Cam Newton. Look what Cam Newton did for your team, and you kind of threw him under the bus. Seattle, I think he could work in Seattle, just because they don't really have a quarterback scenario there. But then to say that he could win the starting job over Marcus Mariota in Atlanta, I think that's wrong. I think Marcus Mariota, is going to be a great fit there on that team. Miami, I know we talk about Tua Noodle Arm, but I don't think that he's going to be able to sit here and take over a starting job, especially in Miami. I just don't. I think if honestly he had the best two teams for him would be Seattle and Carolina. I think are the two best for him. Or maybe even reuniting in San Francisco, even though they probably hate him there.
Yeah, I don't know. 5 years ago, reading it before I put it up. 5 years ago, it's a different discussion. Yeah, agreed. And maybe now I don't know what if he's got any salary demands, or if he's like, you know what, if you're willing to sign me, I'm willing to play for your team no matter what the contract is.
He wanted 20 million before. I mean, what are
Right.
you going to change it to? An 18?
I mean, if he really wanted to play football, why wouldn't he sign with the USFL? Take whatever money they're giving him, and show that he can still play football. And
Why
uh,
he shouldn't even need money. He's got like $1 billion in all these foundations.
right.
Nike. I mean, all these like I said, foundations. He got Nike signed them, everything. I mean, what do you really need the money for? I mean, if you go out there and you sign a $2 million contract and you go win a Super Bowl, you might get that $20 million
Right.
contract, but
Hmm.
you haven't played in 5 years. I'm sorry, but if any team were to sign you anything over 2 million, you honestly got to probably get drug tested at that point.
Yeah. Let's see what Steeler.
I,
Oh, go ahead.
I think another team that could also use Colin Kaepernick is Pittsburgh, just because
Hmm.
I feel like they could use a quarterback scenario there. But with them signing Trubinsky, it's kind of that weird scenario there, because you signed Trubinsky to a 2-year deal, and if you were to bring another quarterback in, it'd kind of be an awkward situation, I think, for him.
Especially since they went Pickett. They took Pickett in the first round. Right? He was the only
Yeah,
quarterback taken in the first round.
yeah, which was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, he was not the quarterback I would have taken. I guess he did play college there, right?
He did, so he gets to change other sides of the locker room now, pretty much, and go from Pittsburgh to Pittsburgh.
Oops, sorry. Wouldn't Locke be the same a little because he was in the Russ trade?
No, I don't think so. Just because I don't think Locke really he didn't have the starting job, and Denver really locked down.
Right.
Lock and lock. But I don't. I mean, I don't think he has a starting job even locked down in Seattle. He's still going to have to compete with Geno Smith. So it's hard to
Yeah.
say. I mean, I'm glad Minnesota does not have any controversy with quarterbacks. I really am. I couldn't do that I wouldn't mind having that scenario, but I also wouldn't want to have it, just because I don't want to have that aggravation. I already have that aggravation with Minnesota as well. I don't need any more. I mean, can't get much worse than what we have done over the past few years.
Yeah. So let's look at some of the other news here. I don't think Locke is a lock either. I just don't see them bringing in someone else. It honestly, it depends. To me, it depends. I think they're the only true landing spot for Baker Mayfield, up there in Seattle. But I don't know. Maybe Cleveland's not willing to eat some of the money, so teams aren't gonna pull that deal. What would you think if Mayfield ended up in Seattle? What would you think about the Seahawks then?
They're competing for the division. They will compete for the division, just because Baker Mayfield will. I think Baker Mayfield would be. I wouldn't say he's going to go out and put up Peyton Manning type numbers that he did when Peyton Manning went from Indy to Denver, but he's going to go out there, chip on his shoulder, and DK Metcalf, and probably be the best player to have in fantasy relations, just because he's going to get the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Roy Cannon says, Baker, if he gets cut, I'd be excited. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I don't know. I know he was injured last year, so it kind of surprised me they went in a different direction. But then kind of got turned off a little bit by just the way he reacted, and kind of became a little bit of a diva there.
But at the same time, if you pretty much got told you're the starter for the 5 years, then you get told, hey, we're not going to trade for a quarterback. You're a guy. Then you get told we're trading for a quarterback, and then we're not trading for a quarterback. You're still our guy. But now we made the trade for the quarterback. You're no longer going to be our starting quarterback. Would you be still happy about that?
No, but I mean, it's I don't know.
I would, if I was him, I would say, move on from me. I would take the cut. I would take the cut. I would just be like, it's release me. I'm not even worried about the money. I don't want to be here anymore. It's kind of irrelevant. I'm just wasting my time.
I think he would fit in Pete's system with DK, Walker, Penny, and Lockett. Yeah, I don't know, Rye. I don't know if you've been paying attention. I know just because of the salary, like Sean and I said earlier, it sounds like they want to move on from Lockett. But with that salary, I don't know if they're going to be able to. So,
exactly.
And Noah Fant, I actually like Noah Fant. I was surprised he was in that deal to go to Seattle. I actually like him. So if they do get a better quarterback, maybe that's the guy. Lock. They said you can take a receiver or a tight end with you. Who you taking? And maybe he wanted Fant.
I mean, he could still get Jerry Jeudy possibly, depending on what happens there. I mean, unless he's playing on the same football team with Henry Ruggs.
Yeah. I'm on Baker's side, especially because it's the Browns who have nothing. They picked Watson. Yeah, and that deal they gave Watson, I think it's all guaranteed.
It is fully guaranteed contract.
I know this year's a low number, but all the remaining years after this are pretty incredible.
Nonsense.
Nonsense. So let's look at some of the rumors and stuff that have been going on. Let me put that back up on the screen here. Amazon, who's getting Thursday Night Football now, is targeting Pat McAfee to create an alternate McAfee cast for Thursday Night Football. So I love Pat McAfee. I'm at work. I'm at work when he's on, so I don't get to watch the whole thing. But I actually love the Pat McAfee show. I would definitely watch this. Well, we'd probably be live stream. Well, no, if they want it during the game, as long as it's not a pregame, it'd be good. If it's a cast during the game, definitely watching that.
Absolutely, but I would love to watch it. Before I changed job professions, I was always watching. I was always like, I'd text you about it during the day, like, hey, did you watch this episode? Or did you watch this one? And I talked to you about it and all that, and I enjoy him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
He's just got that mentality of he really does not give a crap what other people think, and I love that about him. And so I think he would be a great TV person. Honestly, I do.
I don't want to play it because I don't know if we'd get in trouble for playing a YouTube video up here. But
probably we got banned already.
When the draft was in Nashville, and he came out to make the pick for the Colts, he actually tore Nashville and the Tennessee Titans apart.
He did. It was pretty good.
That was funny. But let's keep going through the news here. We are almost to the top of the hour. This hour has flown by. Andrew Sicilione. I skipped Rams NFL OTAs to go hiking and ended up at Chicago Bears OTAs. Now, that's funny.
The hell with that, I'm running away.
Let's see. Giants, Daniel Jones, Bears, Justin Fields, Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, and Jets, Zach Wilson, ranked higher than Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts from Chris Sims. Yeah, actually, fantasy-wise, Hurts is a great quarterback just because of the rushing yards. I better get that off the screen. But yeah, your thoughts on Chris Sims having those guys ahead of him? I don't think so. Maybe I would say Lawrence, maybe Wilson at this point. Then I would go Hurts, Fields, and Danny Dimes last for me.
If I'm ranking those in order, Hurts, Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, and Daniel Jones is the most overrated quarterback to ever get drafted, I think, right now in this modern era.
Yeah, so let's keep looking here. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. We do stream every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Sundays at noon Eastern as well.
So I'll ask you, because I was having a conversation with the guy at work the other day, because he's an Eagles fan and all that. And he said that Carson Wentz has always gotten a short stick of receiving core and to everything. Now that he's on Washington, what kind of now that he's got receivers and everything, do you honestly think he could put in the stats? I mean, we were looking it up and everything. He's only ever missed 7 career games, and that was because he tore his ACL that year, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. And
right.
then he lost his starting job. And do you think that he's going to be great for Washington, or do you think honestly he's probably going to fall under again and fall back into where he's kind of irrelevant? I think honestly, just because of the team and they built around him, I think honestly he's a good fit.
I was just looking. They still have they do have Logan Thomas at tight end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do like Logan Thomas. Not as too much of a fantasy option, but I think his numbers where I have him. Oh, I don't have it up on the screen. Right now I have him at 51 catches. Where'd it go? 51 catches, 543 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I think when I adjust this a little bit, those numbers are going to go up. So I think Logan Thomas is going to be big in that offense. They have Dotson, like you said, McLaurin. And who was third? Who's their third receiver?
Curtis Samuel, the old Carolina Panthers.
And they do have a good stable of running backs. I don't know much about their offensive line. They're going to be competitive. I do. Ron Rivera's a great coach. I think he'll have them ready to play. Definitely at the start of the year, maybe worth having Wentz as a fantasy backup.
If he's available in free agency for fantasy purposes, I might pick him up, depending what kind of quarterback scenario I have. If I have 2 mediocre quarterbacks, then maybe I might pick him up as a third. But if I have maybe like an Aaron Rodgers, then I might just take Carson Wentz just as a backup.
Right. Because Rodgers most likely is going to be your every week starter anyway.
If Aaron Rodgers is on anyone's bench, it better be for Lamar Jackson or something.
Yeah. Let's see here. I just responded to your chat there. Let me know, and we will talk about that here in a second. But yeah, man, this hour has flown by. We're just about at the top of the hour. Thanks everybody for watching. Let's talk about that on Sunday, Sean. We'll come up with a time and then we'll announce it on Sunday. But yeah, so lots of things happening. Like I said, hopefully this weekend. Got some yard work I got to do Saturday. But I'll try to have the fantasy numbers all updated on Sunday. Get to about 90%, and then once training camp starts and injuries happen, we'll keep updating those all the time. I will make those available. Actually, I'll show you a sample. Let's see here. I don't have it in the chat. Let me put it over here in the chat. 2022 quarterback. If anybody's over in the chat, I just put a link in there. If you click on that link, I'm going to have all these available. You guys can print these out, and it'll have our preseason. The one I just put in the chat is the quarterbacks. It lists the top 20 quarterbacks. And on at least every Thursday, I'll let you know when we update those.
Mm-hmm.
So we can keep track of that. You guys can use these. I do have a let's see. I don't have the actual cheat sheet here. And I'm making a cheat sheet as well with all the positions on it, where everything's on one sheet. So if you go into your draft, you can use our numbers if you want. We got some comments. Oh no, that was me posting in the actual other chat. Yeah. So Sean, we'll definitely be back Sunday. We are talking about doing a live stream on Monday as well for the holiday. We're both off of work. Man, that hour flew by. I thought we would be able to fit a mock draft in here. But I want to thank everybody for being here. Right now it says we're up to 7 people watching. Thank you. Make sure you hit that follow button. And if you feel like it and feel like going above and beyond, hit that subscribe button as well. But Sean, any final thoughts?
No, I mean, as we get closer to fantasy purposes, obviously things will get better. We're going to ramp up everything. It's just a matter of we kind of got to get to that point where it's more we can talk fantasy numbers. We need more news to kind of come about with free agency signings, anything. We got the contract disputes happening with Debo. You have them with McLaurin, Lamar. How many more of those people kind of come out and say we have disputes? We won contracts. So I think it's just a matter of time now, and I think it's only going to get better as it keeps going on, just because contracts and things are going to start getting signed. People are going to start free agency or start getting more and more going. Even the free agents that are still available, teams are going to start signing just the practice squads, just because then they at least have some kind of rights on them, and then they can control if they get signed or if they want to have them on their actual team.
Yeah. So, like I said, we'll be back at least Sunday at noon. We'll be back talking more football. We'll iron out whether we do a stream on Monday as well. So make sure you hit that follow button, that notification bell as well. On a side note on the channel, I have downloaded Fortnite. So if you guys are interested, make sure you do hit that follow button. I am going to learn how to play Fortnite. You're shaking your head no. I know Rye Cannon, who's always in the chat as well. He downloaded it as well. So maybe play some of the games of Fortnite and stream them here on the channel as well. There he goes.
I played the game like once, and I think I deleted it faster. And I deleted it faster than I played the game.
Hey, cheers. Rye Cannon just cheered 2 bits. Rye Cannon, thank you very much. You didn't have to do that. Thanks for going above and beyond and doing that there for us. Guys, make sure, let me give him another shout out here. Man, Sean, go ahead. You were talking about you downloaded it, played it, and deleted it.
Yeah, it lasted maybe 10 minutes. I was already annoyed.
Yeah, why?
Because
there's nothing wrong with Fortnite, bud.
I think I got annoyed.
So 2 cheers there from Rye Cannon. Thank you. Harold says, have a good one, guys. Oh, yep, have a good one, Harold. Thanks. Great seeing you in the chat again. Hopefully things are winding down for you. I know you said you've been busy with some stuff. So thanks for signing up for our fantasy league. I know you're in there. I know Rye Cannon's in there. Frank is a dark boy is interested in being there. Payo Time, LA Rams YouTuber who we've had on our show here a couple times is interested in joining as well. So hopefully these guys start signing up. Plenty of time. Probably won't hold the draft until sometime in August. But
yeah, it won't be till August, just for purposes of needing better understanding of what teams are going to be by then, and what kind of free agency and everything is happening.
So if you go over and look, if you do sign up, the draft does say the end of August, but we'll come up with a date that works for everybody. So that'll change. Don't go by what's there now.
Yeah, don't believe anything you see there.
So also some DraftKings stuff coming up. Sean set up a league for the year. Sean actually helped me on Sunday with some DraftKings NASCAR lineups. What we end up winning? I ended up winning like $13, and
yeah,
you won some money as well. So
yeah, I won like $12, and I was like, I'll take it. It's profit. I think I used $9. I won 12. I was like, I gained $3, and then I lost it the next day right away.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So hopefully we get those in for the Coca-Cola 600 this week as well. Guys, if you're going on vacation this week, it is Memorial Day weekend. Take some time to remember those that have sacrificed their lives to protect our lives. And especially if you have a family member, maybe a grandparent or something, make sure you thank them for sacrificing their time as well. Sean, anything before we sign off?
No, I mean, just we'll see everybody on Sunday for Memorial Day weekend, obviously, and just enjoy the holiday break if everyone has off tomorrow or the weekend, and just have a good one and enjoy everything. And like kind of like what you said, just thank anyone that you know and anyone that you've seen over the time. I mean, just even walking in the store and saying thank you to somebody is a big thing to some people.
Absolutely. And if you're in a line, like even here in the little town I live in, if there's a police officer behind me, I know they get free coffee at the convenience store anyway most of the time. But I usually pay for them as well. You know, as long as they're not getting a sandwich or something, I'm not I'm not
Don't
paying
they
for
can't
their
push
meal.
it. Don't
I'm
push
not
it.
paying for their meal. Right.
You're not paying for their glazed donut now.
Nope, just a coffee or a hot chocolate. That's about it. So, guys, once again, thank you very much. Sean, thank you very much. Some shout outs. Harold, thank you for being here. Rykin for being here. Frank is a dark boy was here. Thank you, Frank. I'll be watching him tonight as well. Some other people were here as well. Miss K was here. Thanks for stopping by. Guys, once again, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Sean,
thank you.
thanks, buddy. I'll text you after the stream.
Of course. Talk to you guys later. See you Sunday.